Hey everybody, this is Ryan E. Louie, and this is the Digg series. I'm out here in Yucca Valley, California. I've been in here since Tuesday, and today is Saturday. I've been working on a recording project with my close friend, Digg Ramash. His studio is out here, and I'm also with my son, Hudson. And so, hey, thank you everybody for listening to my past podcasts. I hope that you enjoyed them. I think this one is a real different one, and certainly more about the experience, what it's like to be out here and work with an individual like Digg, as he is an incredible talent. So if I could give a little backstory about it, about how I met Digg, he actually sought me out when I was at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City, and he wanted to get to know me as a drummer, as a person. We became such incredible close friends. And if anything I can say about Digg is he is probably the single most greatest artist that I know. His passion and his intensity goes without. It's ever abundant. He just never stops. And that was 30 something years ago that we met, and it is so great to be able to finally do another project with him. You could see some of the videos that we've done on my website. That's ryanlou.com, RYUNLOU.com. He did 8 Minutes with Louie. Orange Sheepdogs is on there, and this leads us into kind of our next conversation here, or part of the segment here is we're doing a continuation, or the next video of Orange Sheepdogs, and I think we're calling it Sheep, and that could change over time here. We flew in, Hudson and I did, into Palm Springs. We met up in Seattle. That's where our connecting flight was. He came from Chicago. I came from Cleveland Hopkins. And it was great to obviously see Hudson again. And, when we flew into Palm Springs, it was a lot of fun. The plane was like so empty. I couldn't believe there were maybe 15 people on the plane. And that is unheard of in today's, for those who fly, and if you know. Anyway, we got in, we met up, actually Digg called us, and he was so busy doing camera work. He's got a photo shoot here coming up in March with Ralph Lauren, and so he's, his assistant was getting all the camera work done, and plus he was setting up all the mics for the drums and getting all the gear set up for our recording session, and so he just sent us an Uber. And it was kind of cool for all that to be arranged. Yucca Valley's about 45, 50 minutes outside of Palm Springs, maybe 25 minutes away from Joshua Tree, if those who know this part of California. At any rate, back to the recording process. Oh my gosh. So it took a good 2 to 3 days to dial in. And what it means to dial in, it is just trying to get the really perfect drum sound. And, you spend hours. We spent hours working on trying to get the drum set and my cymbals, which are Bosphorus cymbals, which are just totally gigantic and big. And to get them dialed in to be as big and as resonant and the kind of sound that the engineer, which is Digg, that he looks for. When we put together a tune, all we do is we come with ideas from like all the catalog that I have in my information and in my brain of all the different kinds of grooves and beats on it, and then same with him. What we do is we work it out together. It's very interesting to see the process and to go through it. It takes a lot of humility and it takes a lot of patience. And, we talked about humility and leaving your egos at the door. This is another prime example of showing patience and humility towards the greater good. And as we're trying to figure out how the tune is going to go, where it's going to go, we probably had a dozen takes of it, of different segments, and it was always changing. And it is truly magical how something like this turns out. And then we had the take. And that was the great thing about it. The miking system that he used is used off of an old method of three mics, one overhead and one off to the right, off to my floor tom, and then a kick mic. And they have to be very, very specific in the amount of distance from the height to the distance away from the snare drum to get the perfect mix. For those who listen to Led Zeppelin, that is the same method that they used for John Bonham when he played with Led Zeppelin. A lot of drummers know this, and a lot of engineers know this miking technique for drums. But let me tell you, it has to be exact. And I know that we made a few adjustments, but if it got bumped and we didn't know one of the mics got bumped, it really threw off the sound and how it was recorded. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what the drums were and the way that I tuned them a little bit, and my process, in trying to lay down that incredible track that we now have. The drums he got from a friend. They are old Leedy. They're old Slingerland drums. Has a little 13-inch snare. I brought my Bosphorus cymbals, my 24-inch. Just all of them, from my Jazz Vintage to 16-inch hi-hats with the Jazz Vintage as well, the hand-hammered ones. You've seen them in my studio, and they're gigantic. They're such a big sound. And, that brought in a whole bunch of different recording challenges that I didn't expect. The way I tuned the drums, let me tell you, it was just a process of being out here in the desert. The drums, the heads are really tight because it's very dry. So I tuned them down a bit, and I got them all fine-tuned and centered. And if you ever have a question on what that is and my tuning process, many of you, of my students, go ahead and do that. Have asked me about how to tune. You know what? For this context, for the kind of music that I'm playing, the drums needed to sound more like a big rock drum set. And even though we're playing like fusion, a little bit of jazz, and a little bit of world, different ethnicities of music, all involved in this kind of stuff, ultimately, the project itself is going to be more world-oriented jam band, but yet a little more sophisticated. And so when he came up with these ideas and he was laying down these bass lines, it was up to me as a drummer to choose the right drum feel, groove to fit in with that. And so we kind of messed around with it, at first, and then it just kind of worked. And we went into different sections. And, DeKel is like I said, so incredibly talented, and his brain processes on such a different level. As an incredible musician and artist and photographer and director and all this other language that, when it comes to film, I know very, very little about. When he talks to music about me, and it's in depth, he talks about players, he talks about history, he talks about this, but he doesn't know how to explain it in true musical terms. So we just kind of have to feel it out. He'll kind of sing it to me, and he'll kind of tell me kind of what he envisions. And then we just come to this agreement of what the song is supposed to be, and the other songs that we're recording as well. We listen to a lot of music while we're together, and we use that as a muse, and I hope we all know what a muse is, and an inspiration on what to help gets us going. Being out here in the desert in Yucca Valley, let me tell you, he's got 3 acres, a little more than 3 acres, and it is the real desert. There are some other houses around here, the complexes, but it is about as quiet as it could be. I have not heard silence like this. When I grew up in Salt Lake City and we were out in the desert out there, or in the mountains, you just hear either wind, and that's what you hear. But you see the stars at night. It is an incredible healing process. It's a place where you can come and your thoughts are a little more, they can be separated. They can be what they want to be. And I'm so far off the subject here, but this is the environment that we're in. We have these little bungalows that we're sleeping in. There's the main house here that, that he is in right now. Actually, I hear him playing around on the drum set right now. I had gone in the kitchen and got myself ready, got in the bathroom, and then I made coffee for the morning. And then I was doing my journaling. Then I came out here, and I'm in my little bungalow out here recording this podcast. But I tell you what, it is about as healing of an environment as there is. And not to get too overly guru-ish or anything like that, but boy, I mean, he has a real unique and awesome taste for, he always has, when either in New London when we recorded 8 Minutes with Louie, or back in Salt Lake City, or when he was in New York, we've seen him all over. His taste is really impeccable, and it's really creative, and the energy can really flow. And so, but back to the project. Boy, let me tell you, it is, we plan to record an album. It's so cool. We take our tracks here, we send it off to a trumpet player in Rhode Island. We're sending it to a guitar player in Netherlands. And they're going to put all this together. We're going to find a keyboard player. The process is if done the right way, is not like just you go in, you do it, and then you have the finished product. This is a on-taking that's going to be done meticulously and done the right way, and this way we'll be able to get an album, which is called Green Tint. It's another great story about the process of it is going to be really, really great, and so hopefully the finished product is going to be something that everybody would like to listen to and can relate to, and that's kind of what everybody thinks of when they create an album. It's how it relates to yourselves, how it relates to an audience, how it relates to the public, and possibly can we go on tour with it, all these different kinds of things. It is really just humbling and a blast to be a part of, and and then when I'm playing and we're recording, the thing about recording and is that the difference between playing live and performing live and recording is that when it's recorded, it's on there forever, unless you delete it, right? And it is it just doesn't lie. So it's like the truth, man, the truth. Where you listen back to it and you're like, oh, I need to sit on the beat. Oh, I need to play a little ahead. Now we rushed during this part. Oh, this thing didn't come across. Oh, you know what? I could have played better. That's why, we are relentless when it comes to the approach, and to be, you can be as meticulous as you want. You can be as emotional as you want when you play here. And the great thing is, you can play as loud as you can. You can play as quiet as you can. I remember when we first laid down the track, like a full run of the song, it's called Sheep, by the way, and it's a great story. But Sheep, when I laid it down, my in-ear monitors, right, my earbuds were so loud. I was playing so aggressive and so loud. I mean, I was really maxing out everything. And we listened to the playback, and it just had the wrong feel and the wrong intent. So we had to go back and do it again, and then that didn't work out, and then we went back and did it again, and then I had to quiet down this and pop the snare more. We thought we had a take, and I was out here listening as he was mixing, and I could feel him, man. I could feel him getting frustrated because it didn't have this piece that we're playing, man. It's dirty, it's gritty, it's filled with just grit and passion and displaced love. It's really an incredible work. Yeah, but it comes across as like this cops and robbers thing. The video, he has visions in his mind is really, really cool and retro. And but the music is just that. It's big, it's dirty, it's loud, it's aggressive. And that's this piece. We have another piece that's completely different. We have more pieces that are just, covers the full gamut of emotions. But anyway, he was sitting there mixing, and I just heard him, man. He was trying to up the levels, and he's a very, very good engineer, and he can adjust different kinds of wavelengths, and he puts patches in, and it is really just really magical to see. Over my career, I've watched engineers work and the way they go about doing it. From recording with Pana, where we won the Emmy with. That recording process was certainly an eye-opening, and I could talk about that one on another podcast. 3 Scenes of the Desert that we were out in Vegas too, and that was out at the studio that the group The Killers, Root runs the studio. I mean, it is he's the engineer for Imagine Dragons and The Killers. The engineer that we won that did the Spiral piece. I mean, he engineered, Olivia Rodrigo, Justin Bieber, Santana, CeeLo Green. They all come through Las Vegas Studio A, and that process is certainly an incredible sight to see, to watch these people, these engineers adjust and make it so that the stuff that you hear is impeccable. DeKel's the same way. I mean, his process is just meticulous and it's relentless. He'll spend hours. And but I could feel like his energy was just like getting sapped out, and he couldn't figure. He's like, I can't find it. Can't find the pop. He can't find this. And so I said, you know what? Let's take a break. Go. Let's drink a little more coffee. Let's get some brain food. We had a couple bowls of honeycomb. And I said, let's do it. We'll get back in there, and I'll make some adjustments. And then we did it, made a couple of mistakes, 4 mistakes, as in I went to the bridge too early or did this. And then all of a sudden it happened. And we knew it. We knew it at that time. We were like, this is it. This is the one. And then he took it, and, ask me sometimes what a groove face is, and I'll make you a groove face. Because when you hear this piece, man, you're just like, yeah, man, that is it. Oh, it is dirty. It is stinky. It is all that. And that's what it was. And so through all of that, through days of trying to dial in the drums. I mean, seriously, from Tuesday evening, Wednesday, Thursday, yesterday was Friday. We finally got the take of the first tune on Friday. And Friday evening, as a matter of fact. And then, my last day here in Yucca Valley at DeKel's place is, we're going to try and wrap up a couple more tunes. There's a possibility of starting a video. By the way, DeKel is the person who... does the videos for Beyonce and Jay-Z, and hearing his stories about that. I did try and get him on the podcast. He just looked at me. He's like, Ryan, I don't do that stuff. And I said, you know what? I totally understand. Of course he doesn't do that stuff. But I tell you what, I love him. He's a close friend. We've been friends forever. And whenever going through difficult times, as you all know, we're all doing the same thing. It is funny how energies move alike like this. But I tell you, the opportunity to come out, he is a master at branding people, not branding them, but I mean like marketing them. He has a plan for me. I am truly humbled, and I am, we're talking about a photo shoot going out there in New London, marketing myself in such a different way, which I never, ever, ever thought of, and, but I'm going to take the big leap. And remember my first podcast, which is Art versus Fear. I'm incredibly fearful, but I will take the leap and face the fear of this and see what comes next. It was an incredible time out here in Yucca Valley. It was great for Hudson to come out and to be a part of this and to pick DeKel's brain, because it is an intense and an immense amount of experience. I don't think I gave a shout out. So I want to give a shout out to my Wadsworth High School percussionists, in all 3 classes that I teach out there. You folks are you're my students, but you're also my friends. Even when I abuse you and yell at you, you know that it comes from a place of honesty. I don't really yell and I don't really abuse, but I really am honest, as I'm with all my students about playing music, trying to reach, it from your soul and your heart. And but a shout out to you folks. Thank you for listening. And I will talk to you on the next time of the Digg series with Ryan E. Louie. Truth.